What's this all about? You want to boost your solo rating, and of course, the only way to do that is to win solo ranked games. But how can I do that, you say, when my team is always full of, insert insult here? This is a guide that will help you in a much more thorough way than situational advice such as play as this hero on this lane versus this enemy. This guide will teach you how to have the largest influence possible on any given solo game, show you the importance of being positive, and teach you how to apply this to your own games for the end goal of not only a higher win rate, but a more enjoyable game experience for both you and your allies. What impact does being positive have on the game? Being positive can seem like an abstract concept. Okay, so I don't flame my team. Is this going to give our team a global attack speed, damage, and armor buff? Well, technically, no. But in reality, what it does is much more than that. Behind every hero lies, or sits, I suppose, a player. That player has a conscience that plays a much bigger part in his overall performance than most people seem to realize. Sure, there's skill, there's knowledge, and there's experience, but how come you regularly crush randoms in a given matchup, whereas if you face a pro player in the same situation, you wet your pants and fail to do so, only to afterwards explain the failure as an example of why he is a professional player and you're not? Believe it or not, a lot of that is owed to your mindset and nerves. Many pros aren't that good, not individually at least. Let's take another example from pro teams. Why are the players there so comfortable with taking risks, trusting their intuition and shaping their own style? Because they hold no fear of their team. They are not afraid of letting them down, disappointing them, or pissing them off. The team relies on them, and they rely on their team. There is no room for negative judgment during a game, and knowledge of this gives players comfort and freedom to play to their fullest potential. Of course, the majority of the player base rarely faces pro players, so excuse me if you cannot relate to the above anecdotes. It is, however, a clear example of the impact your conscience can have on your ability to play well. So how can you apply this to your own games? Make your random pub allies feel comfortable. Do not ever flame them. Do not ever question their decisions, because if you do, they will too. This leads to them doubting themselves, which leads to indecisiveness, which is akin to having delay, one of the most punishable traits in the game. So next time you see someone building an item you don't like, following a skill build you think is not optimal, or moving around the map in a way that you deem inefficient, take a second before you point out your concerns to them. There is a small technical difference between each of these sentences. Oh my god, this Luna is not going BKB! Luna, why are you not getting a BKB? Luna, I think a BKB would be good for you here. Essentially, all three mean the same, but the effect they have on not only the Luna, but your team is colossally differing. Option 1 is the worst. By not addressing the Luna directly, you are implying that person cannot be reasoned with. This is not only insulting to that player, hurting their confidence and having the aforementioned effects on their performance, but it gives everyone on your team the impression that the situation can no longer be helped, and that all that is left to do is to complain and whine. Option 2 is less bad. However, it is still very bad compared to option 3. I have a feeling most people think this to be the right option, or at least go for this one most often. Not only does this create doubt, as I mentioned above, it immediately puts your ally on the defensive, as they feel pressure to explain their decision. Even if they had realized themselves that the decision was bad, the chance of them replying positively to such a question is close to non-existent. Now you've created a rift in your team, between you and that player. They may not consciously decide to do anything about it, but subconsciously, you can bet split-second decisions will be influenced by what you have said. Why should I help, save, listen, or follow the guy that is criticizing me? Such a thought coming up in the Luna is not unlikely at all. Furthermore, the rest of your team may take either side, which magnifies the problems. Option 3 is ideal. It doesn't matter whether the enemies have 3 disables each that are all negated by BKB, and you think Luna must be below 2000 MMR for not realizing that. And, in fact, it doesn't even matter whether she follows your advice or not. However, when you put it this way, it is a lot more likely that she will, as long as you have tried to convince her. So let's say that you went with option 3 and said it in the best possible way, but Luna still isn't getting a BKB. It's really easy at that point to just go into full rage mode, complain, whine, consider the game lost. Some people even grief, but that won't get you anywhere. What should you do? And what should you not do? You should not mention what happened 10, 5, or even 2 minutes ago. History is never relevant during the game, only in replays. Many players have received the advice of thinking about what they did and what they could have done better, yet failed to execute this idea properly. First of all, this is only about yourself. Never should you try to point out what someone else could have done better. Why? Because there is no way they are going to learn from you, a random pub, criticizing them while not being so great yourself. They can also notice they died in a stupid way, whether you point that out or not. The vast majority of the time, they are not going to start making better decisions or playing better during the same game you are in right now. So by teaching them, you are in fact only coming off as an arrogant asshole, lowering your chances of winning by distracting and demoralizing everyone, including yourself. Secondly, analyzing how the game went is for replays. That's when you have all the information at hand and can make proper deductions. It's very easy to say someone should not have been farming out on their own 5 seconds after they get ganked and killed. Everyone can see that after it has happened, and discussing all the circumstances that led to that happening is to be done either on your own or with your team after the game is over. While studying the replay, what can truly help is to warn your team of things that may happen or are happening. Let's see if you are getting the picture here. Wow, we let AM free farm all game and now he's owning us 1v5 because we have no direct counters. Guys, AM is farming quite well, we should gank him before it's too late. We don't have any heroes that are good at dealing with AM. We should shut him down and try to finish early before he gets relevant. Clearly, option 1 is bad, option 2 is better, and option 3 is the best. Of course, if you are inexperienced, these things may be difficult to analyze or conclude before they've actually happened. However, that does not mean you should resort to option 1. You can think that for yourself, draw your own conclusions, but if you want to have any hope of winning, do not type that to your team. Every single moment in the game is to be considered only presently. What farm and levels does every hero have? Where are they positioned right now? What are they planning on doing? How can they be countered, etc, etc. There is absolutely no reason to dwell on what has already happened. Don't even mention past wrong decisions such as who went on which lane, what item and skill build they went for, and who made what mistakes. Things like, because Rasta died so many times, this Snark is now super fat, are some of the worst things you can say. Not only do you make the Rasta feel bad, making him play worse, you demoralize your entire team by making them think Snark is now some unstoppable force that became so in a manner they couldn't have influenced, encouraging them to lose hope. They will essentially think of the Snark as a mess that Rasta created, and they have to clean up. Now the team is also set against your poor Shadow Shaman. The truth is that it doesn't matter when or why the Snark got his farm and levels. What matters is how much farm and experience he has right now, so that you can decide how to appropriately deal with him. Can you reliably gank and pick him off? Can you survive if he jumps you with his ultimate? Can you burst him down after his ultimate? Can you out-farm him and hope to out-carry him later on in the game? These are the actual useful questions that should be going around in your head, not a judgmental finger looking for someone to blame for your incapability of dealing with a given situation. Next up, the ever-controversial topic of surrendering. We fucking lost. No, you didn't. I don't like coming up with the statistics, but I'm pretty sure that over half of the finish fast please calls are made earlier than 30 minutes into the game before the tier 3s are even taken. If you're playing a pub, there's no reason not to play until the end. The game is never over until either the tree or throne goes down. If you give up, if you aren't going to play, just abandon and don't waste people's time. It's that simple. A big aspect of this problem is the fact that it forms a downward spiral, or in a way, a catch-22. People give up as soon as they fall behind, so they don't learn how to play from behind because they never try. And then every time they fall behind, they are more than likely to give up because they are clueless about how to play the game properly when you're not ahead. Lastly, some general tips on boosting your win rate. Don't play when you're tired. This may depend a bit on the person, but generally when you're tired, your map awareness and decision making takes an enormous hit, and you play well below your regular skill level. Take a break after a loss. Don't angrily insta-requeue after a loss. Your negative emotions will likely carry over to the next game, and increase the likelihood of losing that one as well. Switch things up after several losses in a row. Try some more relaxed mode you don't care so much about winning or losing. Ability draft, bots, or even party ranked if you don't care about your party rating. Play heroes with a lot of impact. Avoid passive farmers, especially junglers. They require a held back and protective playstyle, and generally much more coordination overall, which is unlikely with a team of 5 random people. Even if you do end up jungling, make sure to contribute as much as possible, and as soon as possible. Communicate with your team. Don't expect someone to read your mind and understand your whole thought process from several frantic pings. Use voice chat, or type, and let your team know all your thoughts and intentions. This greatly empowers teamwork and makes all kinds of coordination more successful, as well as reducing flame, since most of it rises from miscommunication. Credits go to /Strike for creating this guide. Check out his website from the link in the description. My name is Silver Hunter. See you in our next guide.